Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again, here with part 2 of my reaction to this shocking secrets or shocking allegations about Australian soldiers during the Afghanistan war, 60 minutes. So let's jump back in.
Why? I don't know why they did it. I just don't know why blokes took the law into their own hands.
Drew Hasty says frustration could have encouraged some Special Forces soldiers to write their own rulebook.
If there were prisoners who were executed, what impact did that have on the ground?
I think it would have turned the population against us. If you're trying to make inroads to the population, that sort of behaviour does nothing for you.
I don't know why. I don't know why they did it. I just don't know why blokes took the law into their own hands. But I honestly think because they weren't being watched, and it was for some of them, maybe it was just chalking up kills.
Chalking up kills.
Just chalking up the numbers.
Why didn't you just do something about it? Like, are you the sergeant? Is this Sergeant Ballbag? You're not a junior soldier if you're one of the sergeants and you got into the unit in 2001. You're there before Aris and I got into the unit. So one of the comments from Hemorrhoid Head 27 is that junior soldiers were being forced to. So there's a sergeant in there somewhere. I don't know if this is the sergeant. Could be wrong. Sitting here years after the fact saying, shaking your head in darkness, hiding your identity, saying, I don't know why, I don't know, I don't know. If those allegations are true, it's likely because you did nothing about it. You didn't ask, you didn't get together with other people in the moment or as close to the moment and try to do something about it. It would appear, if these allegations are true. So equally as though you may be saying, I don't know why they were doing it, I don't know why and you keep saying they, but you then all of a sudden point your finger at one person, being Ben Robert Smith. So they, but no, it's Ben Robert Smith. If it's only one person, why didn't you and the others who I would have imagined be feeling the same way, do something about it? Speak up. Not years after the fact, like as close to, if not in the moment, preferably in the moment, but if not in the moment, close to. Like it just, that for me works both ways. Why would these guys be doing that? But also, why would you sit back and do nothing? Like that looks wrong, sounds wrong, feels wrong, but you still do nothing.
Farmer Ali Jan wasn't the only one allegedly executed by Australian soldiers. Tonight, we reveal more incidents are being scrutinised by investigators, including another summary execution. In this case, a soldier has confessed to the killing. How do we know this? Well, we've been told about it by multiple defence sources. And we've got this. It's a written record of the man's confession.
The way in which the man looked at him caused him to know that he was murdering an innocent man.
The incident took place on the 3rd of October 2012, when an Australian commando shot a prisoner of war in the back of the head at point-blank range. The soldier says the prisoner he killed did not deserve to die. In his confession, the soldiers...
Got to watch out with these reenactment videos that you show in their 60 minutes because old Hemorrhoid Head takes these as gospel and claims that these are the footage, video evidence that have been shown in the court trials. And like I've said, I mean, if you've got footage like this to the media, it's a slam dunk case, isn't it, for a criminal conviction? And my question is, if you've got such footage, why has that, for some miraculous reason, not leaked its way out into the interwebs? But Hemorrhoid Head or Hammerhead 27 will have something to say about this for sure.
says he now lives with enormous regret. But at the time of the shooting, he was acting on the orders of his superior. And when he challenged the demand, he was told to get on with the job.
And he was told it was okay because he was a bad guy. But he knew within himself that the prisoner was an innocent non-combatant who had just been caught up in the skirmish.
Have you seen broken soldiers?
I've seen guys deeply affected by this, yeah. And I think that's why my point is that if we're going to talk about soldiers, then we also need to talk about the leadership of the ADF and also the politicians who sent them there. Everyone's accountable.
Oh, wow. Andrew Wastebag Wank Drew Wasty did actually talk about leadership and everyone's accountable. That's probably the first thing I've agreed with in terms of the words that have come out of his mouth since I've heard about this twat. Anyway, let's carry on.
Some more than others, and some for more, grievous actions, if proven. But everyone's accountable.
But especially Australia's elite soldiers. As equally important as aggression, professional restraint has long been an envied quality of SAS troops. When Andrew Hastie heard that one of his soldiers had severed the hands of a dead insurgent, he reported him and stopped the practice.
The investigation was launched after the issue was raised up the chain of command, and it was raised by me.
In another incident, Hastie withstood pressure from an Afghan partner force officer to execute prisoners who were being bashed by other Afghan soldiers.
They were just beating them with their rifle butts, kicking them in the face, stomping on their heads. One guy I thought had his neck broken, and then the commander was telling me that we needed to execute them on the spot because there was no room in the jails.
How did you push back?
I just said, no, that's not what we do.
Have you ever thought what would have happened if it went a different way? If you'd said yes, let's just knock them off and...
Yeah, I don't think I'd be sleeping very well. They were
Sounds like you're not sleeping very well anyway with the types of dreams you're having, mate. Based on that article, dreaming about murdering an Australian soldier with Ben Robert-Smith and you dragging Ben Robert-Smith into your demented dream and covering it up. Sounds like you're not sleeping very well anyway, because that was years after the fact, and that was words that you shared with Masters, I think, the correspondent or journalist, whatever. So, yeah, I don't know if you can trust the words coming out. Very quick to point out in those, what was it, that situation or whatever it was with the severed hands were raised by me. Good if it was raised by you in terms of how that all came about. But again, sounds like there was some confusion about the ROE and or the methods to identify the people that your troops had been sent out there to go and kill and or capture. How else are they going to identify if they got the right people? I don't know.
no
Anyway.
care. They weren't a threat. They were prisoners, and it was our duty to take them back. Execution just wasn't an option.
Coming up,
2 little bodies. It was obvious they were children.
when war is hell.
I'm the one who gave the order, and I'm sorry. And he said, I forgive you.
The act.
This is the piece that, was it the guys over in Oz and the person who sent me this was telling me about. I've heard about this. This is the first time I'm seeing it. So let's carry on.
Of getting it wrong.
There's a huge amount of guilt I feel that I should have stepped in, said something, but I didn't.
And a family's search.
That guy, I've done a reaction to him before. I think that's Dusty. Well, I think I might be wrong, but I think that's the guy, Dusty. And there's another guy. So Dusty was a medic, and I think there's another guy who I've done a reaction to as well, who was a SIG. I think he must have been one of the 152 chooks that was attached to the unit.
For answers.
They killed him for no reason. Why did such cruelty happen?
That's next on 60 Minutes.
After 18 troubled years, Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, is probably more dangerous today than it was when the war began.
Explosions followed by a rush to assist the injured.
Blasting cars in all directions.
The Taliban said they had 20 gunmen rampaging through Kabul.
The Taliban still looms large. There are frequent suicide bombings and kidnappings. But my journey here was...
But they're just innocent farmers. What do you mean? How could that be? How can this be? They're just innocent farmers. They're not going around doing suicide bombings and killing their own people. That's not what they do.
...is much safer than the one Ali Jan's family has taken.
Hello, salam alaikum. Nice to meet you.
It's taken 3 days for Ali Jan's wife, Dorko, her youngest children, and Ali's brother Ahmed to make it here from their mountain village in Uruzgan province. Along the way, they've risked reprisals from the Taliban as they've travelled through country far too dangerous for outsiders to visit. But just as I'm in search of answers, so too is this grieving family. They need to know why Ali Jan never returned after leaving the family home in September 2012. He'd gone to buy supplies in the village of Darwan when he had a chance encounter with Australia's SAS and was detained.
They threw him for no reason. They killed him for no reason. They did injustice to him. He was innocent. He went to bring flour for his children.
What did the villagers tell you about how Ali Jan had died?
The villagers said they shot Ali Jan. He was thrown from the cliff to the ditch. He was dragged in the drainage and shot.
This family had little to begin with, but since Ali Jan's death, they've got even less. 7 years on, the knowledge that Australian authorities are finally investigating the killing brings little comfort.
I am so sad. It becomes hard for the day and night to pass. I keep thinking about why this happened to me. Why is he gone for no reason? Why did such cruelty happen?
Was Ali Jan involved with the Taliban or with militants?
He was not Taliban. There was no gun. He knew nothing about guns. He hated the Taliban.
Hard to know in terms of, like, I wasn't there. What is the truth and what isn't the truth? What happened? What didn't happen? There's only one known photo of Ali Jan. I don't know if there's a birth record or whatever. I think I spoke about that in the first reaction to this. Yeah, not for me to sit here and call this family a liar if this is the family of Ali Jan. Like, this is their take and their perspective. I assume they've heard about what is alleged and been reported in this documentary as having taken place and allegedly having happened to Ali Jan by the, I guess, other surviving locals of the area. Who knows?
The AFP investigation into Ali Jan's death is far-reaching. Multiple defence sources have confirmed the AFP has not only travelled to Afghanistan, has not only taken multiple eyewitness statements, but has also spoken to SAS insiders in Perth and elsewhere overseas. The men the AFP have spoken to include those who were at Darwan and who allege they saw Ali Jan kicked off a cliff.
It's shocking. It's disgusting. And because there's some, third world urchins, no one cares about it. It's just wrong. It's absolutely wrong. I don't think we get it because we're so removed from Afghanistan, sitting in our comfortable homes watching TV.
What do you mean when you say this witness, I don't think we get it? You're there. You're one of the operators in the unit. What do you mean we don't get it? Are you speaking on behalf of the Australian public? That's a big call, for starters. Just as it would be if I was to try to speak on behalf of the regiment. I don't speak, and I've said that in multiple other videos, I don't speak on behalf of the Australian Special Air Service Regiment. I just don't. I share my 2 cents and give my reactions based on what it is that I'm seeing, hearing, what I feel in that moment, based on what it is that I'm looking at and listening to. When I'm hearing that, and maybe he's going to elaborate a bit more, but for him to say words of we don't get it, I assume he's talking about Australian general public. Maybe there's some truth to that from a general public's perspective. But for those that don't get it, based on what he's saying, and again, he's probably going to say a heck of a lot more. But for those who don't get it, and yeah, I guess for me that thought never really crossed my mind about what is the rest of the public thinking. If part of your role and part of our role being in there is to act with professionalism, integrity within our moral sets and all that sort of stuff, value set morals, and do the job that we're supposed to do in accordance with how we in Western civilizations work and operate, and like to talk about how we hold ourselves to a higher standard. That is, I think that's the general perception and belief. And by and large, my experience, that's what we look to try to do, or that's what soldiers look to try to do from countries like Australia. Those that are in that situation that see that stuff isn't happening the way that it should, well, then that's where we have an obligation as well and a duty to step in, try to do something about it, prevent bad things that are outside of that scope of what we're there to do from happening in the first place. And or if we are unable to prevent it, then to make sure that we then follow up after, and not years after, like after action review, etc., etc. I've spoken about that a number of other times. So anyway, let's hear what else he has to say.
But we should care. Every Australian should care if their husband went for a litre of milk and he didn't come home. This is what happened. And, you know, not once or twice. This happened a number of times.
Well, the risk is when you send...
Well, I don't know if you'll get every Australian caring about that, because, you know, bad stuff happens all over the world. People get stabbed in the neck on a bus and on a train, get brutally attacked and sadly murdered and killed and left for dead, all over the place, not just in Afghanistan. I'm not saying that makes it okay. That's not the message at all, or the reaction. I'm just saying it's probably unlikely, and dare I say, I don't think every Australian is going to care, or every New Zealander, or every American, or whatever. And I think the shoe would be on the other foot as well. There might be some Afghanistan people, if they saw what happened, some of the crimes and stuff that happen in supposed non-third world countries, they may be shocked. Or I'd imagine the vast majority probably don't care, probably, you know, focused on what it is that they're doing. So, yeah, I'm not sure where he's going with that in terms of every Australian should care. Again, him, myself, nobody that I know of, not even that blank and Dumbanese, Albo, who's the current Prime Minister, can really speak for all Australians. You know, everybody's different. So.
Guys on multiple deployments over many years, you can, over time, I think, erode moral judgment.
Do you think that was happening?
Well, potentially. When you go to war, you harden your heart because you are there to fight. I know the Special Operations Task Group, our job was to take it to the enemy. So you have to be hard of heart, and you naturally callous. You become emotionally calloused. But if you do that multiple times, year after year, it does come at a cost, especially when some of our special operators have spent more time in the field than many of our World War II vets.
That part there that he's talking about is probably probably a really good point. So acknowledge Blink and wank Drew Wasty for that in terms of the comments that he's mentioned there. I have sometimes, not so much these days, but I have sometimes reflected on, I wonder potentially how much different I might have been as an individual, as a person, had I not been so stubborn and said I refused to do the Subject 1 course in Australia. I often, not often, but I used to fairly often reflect and think about how different I might have been as a person, as a husband, as a father, had I stayed in the regiment, which was my plan, was to stay there and just go on job after job after job. If you're not on jobs, be back training and preparing for the next job. Then go again on another job. If not on a job, then off somewhere else training in another country and or with another SF unit, and learning from them and bringing that knowledge and training back, etc. All of those, I suppose, those thoughts that have entered my mind at different times, combining that with not knowing, but thinking about, would I have been a different person? I would have to say I probably would be quite different. Like without knowing, because I haven't gone through that, didn't go through those multiple year after year, deployment after deployment that the boys are going through in Afghanistan. But had I listened to the instruction to go do that Subject 1 course, I would have 100% been putting up my hand to go, yep, I want to go, because that's all I wanted to do. There was talk of, when I refused to go back on the Subject 1 course, why not just stay here and train and get ready for the potential trip to Afghanistan? So, yeah, I think who knows, may have been a very different person. May not have a YouTube channel. Who knows? Maybe it might have been me that's been, been accused of war crimes. Maybe I might be one of those other people of the however many were initially investigated and then dropped down to 50 something, and then, or maybe I might have been one of the 39 that were like, yeah, no, there's nothing else to investigate here. Or maybe I might be still part of the group that is potentially, as far as I'm aware, still under investigation, whatever those numbers look like. Who knows? But yeah, I have reflected on that from time to time. And so when Hasty's talking about that those multiple exposures to deployment after deployment, probably, or I think he said could potentially cause things like that, or for people to change and be impacted. I agree with him. I think that's an accurate comment or thought, because just of my own, from time to time, without having seen this video before, I've thought before in terms of how much different I might be. I'd like to think I wouldn't be, but not having gone through the exposure and the multiple deployments that the lads have gone through over that period of time, I can't sit here and say that I'd be just exactly the same. Anyway.
Andrew Hastie supports the multiple investigations of war crimes allegedly committed by Australian Special Forces soldiers. But he knows from harsh personal experience how things can and do go wrong in war. He says it's vital there's a distinction between unlawful killing and a tragic accident. On his first SAS mission to Afghanistan, he called in an air attack on approaching Taliban soldiers. But US helicopters misjudged the coordinates and fired missiles at the wrong target. Innocent civilians were killed.
It was straight away, because I saw it come in. We're looking that way, and the gunfire was, I think it was something like 600 to 800 meters out, and my heart just sank. It's like it just dropped through the floor. And I knew we had to do something. We went out there, and there were two little bodies, 6 and 8 years old. It was obvious they were children.
It was a genuine fog of war blunder, which led the SAS captain to offer his resignation. Instead, Andrew Hastie was flown to a meeting with the boys' grieving family.
I said to the uncle, I'm the one who gave the order, and I'm sorry. And
so hang on, this is an accident, or he's just saying he gave the order? I'm confused. He says they were looking this way, and then the rockets, or whatever it was that he called in, came in that way, on that side. So how does that work? Like, the pilots they're not perfect. Nobody is. But it's quite a big, I'm just sitting here swiveling in my chair, it's quite a big distinction, big movement. We're looking this way. So I'm presuming and assuming that, and Hastie's the one that's saying that he called the rockets in. I'm assuming that he's calling the rockets in on the target and the direction that they're looking, but the rockets land out in a complete opposite direction. How does this, and what's the findings? How is it determined that this was an accident and not a war crime? Where are the findings for it? I'd love to know. Are they available under the Freedom of Information Act or whatever? I don't know. It's a genuine question. How what was used to determine that what Andrew Hastie did was an accident and not a war crime. Okay, let me just go back a bit and listen to this again.
To offer his resignation. Instead, Andrew Hastie was flown to a meeting with the boy's grieving family.
I said to the uncle, you know, I'm the one who gave the order, and I'm sorry. And he said, I forgive you. Big relief.
Big relief? Are those crocodile tears or what? You gave the order. So you gave the order for what? You targeted what you thought or who you thought were Taliban insurgents. And it turns out they were 8 and 6 or 6 and 8 year old boys. Excuse me. Like I'm confused here on this one. And then you put in your resignation and the unit instead flew you, or you were flown to go and speak with the family instead. I'm a bit lost in terms of all of that. I've never heard of that happening before. Doesn't mean it doesn't and won't and can't happen just because I haven't heard of it. But I've never seen this interview before. So I'm glad that I've got it now for the first time. I've got more questions than answers. One heavily revolves around what investigation or investigative measures and steps were taken to look into this particular, by the sounds of things, tragic event that took place. A 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, 2 young boys were killed by the orders of this guy, who is the one that called in, as he said, he gave the order, for the rockets to go into that place, which I presume is what they were targeting. But he's mentioned at the start that they were looking this direction, but the rockets came here. Even that gives me more questions. So you can be looking that way, but your target can still be over here. Like, you know what I mean? So did you target the young boys because you thought that they were a threat, and so that's where the rockets went? Or were you looking over there, target was over there, you called and gave the order for missiles to go into that target, but the pilot had a complete brain fart and fired his rockets in a complete opposite direction towards 2 young boys in a field on a road? Like, I just, again, more questions. Like, how was that investigation done? And who conducted the investigation? Is the AFP involved? Is the Office of the Special Investigator involved? Military police? Like, I don't know.
What did you think about the Afghan people when you had that interaction?
It humanised them for me, because he was a poor family.
Take your time, you're right.
You bloody twat.
He'd lost 2 boys.
Because of your order, right? He lost 2 boys because of your order. Is that right? But it's all right. That's an accident. That's an accident, that one. It's like the defamation case. Apparently there's a guy, person 18, which Scott Jones talks about on the Sam Bamford Two Worlds Collide podcast. Tusk, I forget it, call sign Tusk or something like that. 7 RAR lads, call in SASR lads. BRS just happens to be a part of that squadron or troop that's returning back to base camp. And 7 RAR is asking them for help because they're getting blanket hammered by this compound as they're tactically withdrawing. The regiment lads go, yep, we'll come and help. So they do. They head over. They see a massive amount of fire. They call a bomb in there. They start moving forward. One of the witnesses against RS apparently shot and killed a person that was coming out of that compound who was limping. Shot and killed him. Nobody's saying or doing anything about that. Prosecution doesn't want to look into that potential seemingly unlawful killing of an unarmed person coming out of a compound that has just had a bomb dropped on it because they're trying to wipe out whoever's in there because they're shooting at 7 RAR lads. And we just want to forget about that and go just to RS. Again, it's not, I don't know that it's a conspiracy, which Hemorrhoid Head 27 likes to bring up or say in his comments, but something's not right. If there's another soldier who's then shot somebody who's unarmed because they're limping out of a compound which just got bombed, and that's deemed to be okay, we won't worry about talking about that, then where is the line? Where do you draw the line? What investigations have taken place? Why is this an accident and not a war crime if he, by his own admission, gave the order? He went and saw the family and said, I'm the one who gave the order, were the words that he said. I didn't make those words up. I'm the one that caught in the airstrike, basically, is what he's saying to the family. I'm the one that caught in the airstrike. I'm the one who gave the order. It killed your 6-year-old and your 8-year-old son or nephew. Just doesn't, I don't know. Things aren't adding up. Somebody explain it for me. help me understand. That's a genuine question. Hemorrhoid Head, Hammerhead 27. If you can help me understand what it is that I'm trying to piece together in my brain, maybe it's me this time, unable to get the two brain cells to rub together to get these things to make sense. But if you've got the answers to what I'm trying to, or what I'm putting out there in terms of questions wise, I'd love to hear it. Don't give me another one of your copy and paste bloody rubbish ones as well that you did several times. You got me good on that one. But this guy and what investigation was done to come to the determination that this is an accident, that person 18 who shot somebody in that compound, part of the same team that RS was a part of, but that one's okay. We just want to go to this one, which involves RS. Like, where is the line, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And what is the results of these investigations?
Had every right to not say those words, but they did.
Did he give you peace when he said, I forgive you?
Piece of a kind. Piece of a kind.
Yeah, bloody piece of trash is what you are.
As we've spoken to more and more Afghanistan veterans, it's clear that most do want accountability. Not for fog of war incidents, but for those suspected war crimes that cross a line. But something else is...
Well, that's what I was just saying. Where is the line? What is that line?
...is also clear. Those...
Not for me personally. I mean for what the media is after, for what the supposed public interest is after. I think I've spoken before in terms of how horrendous that would be if you witnessed some of these allegations that have been made against Ben Robert-Smith. But again, what is the metric? What are the investigative tools being used to determine, identify, and then come to a determination that that's an accident, that's a war crime. You shot that person? Were they armed? No, they weren't armed, but they came out of the compound. They were limping. And you shot and you killed them. Yep. We'll say, well, we dropped the bomb on the air anyway, so that's everybody. We'll assume everybody in there was bad. And we'll come over to here. RS was at the same compound? Yeah. And what are you saying, or what are you alleging that he did? Oh, well, there were some people that were still left there in the compound, and, he ended up shooting them. And they were unarmed too, like the guy over here that you shot that was walking with a limp? Yeah, he was unarmed as well. Whoa, that sounds like a war crime. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what is being used, and that's not my job, obviously. But part of my what I've chosen to do is do these reactions. And so I've said from the start, I think I've got more questions than answers, and that's likely because I'm not involved in the ins and outs, and I don't need to be. But I would love to know what processes, methods, tools, whatever, how do they come to the determination of that's an accident or fog of war, that's a war crime, that's a legitimate contact, etc., based on the ROEs that they were given. The offensive ROE of 429 Alpha, which Scott Jones has done a great job of explaining on the Two Worlds Collide podcast with Sam Bamford. So, yeah, I've still got more questions. What's our time? I'm going to park this one here. We'll come back and finish this one off with hopefully maybe a part 3. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video. If you've got answers to these, if you've got thoughts, takes, perspectives, whack them in the comments. I'll have a read of them. Even if you are hemorrhoid head, or even if you are a supporter of hemorrhoid head, I don't know why you'd want to be. That guy sounds severely mentally retarded, but no doubt he'll come and jump in with some more comments on this video and give his take. Anyway, look after yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one.